Greetings, lovely Aries. This is your reading for this week leading up to the new moon in Pisces. So it's kind of a week of, there's a dreaminess in the air, I feel. A good week to allow your imagination to flow. There's a few other things going on. Mars is in Gemini, so there may well be a need to express one's own will or opinion or observation. There's always the dualities of life, isn't there, that we, in terms of expressing, we want to, have a balance in life, I suppose. Anyway, I'm not an astrologer, but there are some interesting planetary things going on at the same time. Nevertheless, let's get into it. We're doing a shortened Celtic cross for you today. The central point, the basis, what's happened, what's behind you, where you're at currently and moving forward. So let's just get focus here, and Aries, we'll get a few cards to begin with and talk about those briefly before we continue. Just a couple of cards for Aries, please. A couple of cards for Aries at this time. I've been a little bit stubborn. Okay, we have the moon coming out first and foremost. Speaking of moons, time and tides, we'll be coming in with that reading in a day by the end of tomorrow. But central point for you, lovely Aries, the moon. We're looking at, within the moon card, we see elements of our unconscious working away, I hear, working sort of overtime. There's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of unknowns with the moon card, which often full moons illuminate. Of course, new moons can also. Let's see what's crossing the moon card. Oh, boom. Crossing the moon card, and we get one for the basis of this situation. Wow, it's looking pretty amazing for you Arians today. So we get the moon, which is sort of, there's a lot in our minds, I suppose, our subconscious, that we can become more conscious of. Crossing, we get the Ace of Discs. Now, this is a gift. It's a card of abundance in all material forms. It can be like walking through a doorway. Of course, it comes from the divine. All aces do. Excuse me, it's at the crown, at the top of the tree of life, and it comes down in a download, an inspiration. It is not with form yet. It is not of form, I should say. So in some ways you could see it as information or signs and signals. And we see it here crossing the moon card, the moon, the mystery of the moon, aspects of the unseen again in the material form. But the basis of this is, and I do believe, I kind of get the sense here that the basis, we have the Six of Wands, a card of winning, a card of seeing our value in the faces of others, in the action of others. We see something reflected back to us. So it's not a sort of direct, somehow it's not overly, it's not a direct, what's the word, realization? It is we realize something in terms of what we see coming back from other people. I guess this is natural interaction of sorts, isn't it? But the Six of Wands is the card of the winner returning, either from battle or from largely being of service to other people. So this is looking a little bit mysterious, isn't it, with the moon in the central point? Let's see what's behind you, dear Aries. It's looking good. It's looking pretty amazing with the Ace of Discs. What's behind Aries in this reading, please? What has just passed? What has just passed, yeah, is a burden of sorts, is a cycle that was at its end for you, Aries. We have the Ten of Wands. Yes, it is repetitive, but life is all about endings and beginnings of new cycles. So we get the Ten of Wands. It is a burdensome card. Traditionally, the figure with the weight, carrying this weight. There's a point where we can't carry this anymore, and maybe people are seeing our ability to shed something, to not faff around, I guess you could say, with wasting our energy and carrying too much of a weight that is unnecessary and belongs in the past. I kind of get that sense. So let's see what's currently happening with Aries. Aries may be feeling a little bit dissatisfied, but I would say with the Six of Wands and the Ace of Discs here in the central point, it's really not to be focusing too much on this card of the Five of Cups. It is a card of disappointment. Well, this in the Thoth deck, it's called disappointment. It is a card where, we have two cups behind us that are full that we don't see, and the other three have been tipped out lying in front of us there. It is about understanding disappointment and melancholy, those sorts of things, because if we don't, if we've never experienced that, we can't see the value in a gift like this. So to me, in this reading, these two cards go hand in hand, because we can't really accept freely, even see it, this beautiful Ace of Wands, this Ace of Abundance. Oh, in the material world, sorry, Aries, without understanding the experience of the Five of Cups. So it's kind of interesting where you clearly you've released a burden, maybe there are disappointments that did come to an end, whatever cycle that was, whatever scenario or situation, that was for you, beautiful Aries. Let's see, moving forward, then we will clarify. Moving forward for beautiful Aries. Wow. Look, I think, this week leading up to the 13th, the new moon in Pisces, it is a pretty dreamy Neptunian time. And it is good to allow time to sort of free flow, let some things rise up that maybe we've been either sitting on subconsciously, and we see this in the central point, subconsciously sort of not wanting to let these things rise up. Anyway, moving forward, we get And we will clarify. We get the Seven of Swords that came out first with the second card that came out with it is the beautiful Death card, the card of transformation. I do believe here that there is some, obviously, some rebirth of sorts going on for you, lovely Aries. You know, often we do put our efforts into things which no effort is wasted effort, but we do often put our efforts in, or maybe we try and be everything to everyone, so our burden is a lot greater. Sometimes we don't need to do that. More often than not, we don't need to do that in order to be valued. With the Seven of Swords, traditionally people talk of it as, you know, the thief in the night. I call it the backdoor man or woman, because to me it's often something that we do to ourselves more than it being something that others do to us. We do it, it's a sword card, it's a mind card. We kind of screw with our own head with the seven. We don't feel that we can express maybe what we would like to, and so we go about in different ways to get what we want or need. Maybe using manipulation, maybe we don't want to face up to some of our motivations or intentions here. This isn't a harsh, I'm not being harsh about this. It's actually a really good thing when it comes up with the Death card, with transformation, letting go of old, which is what you've done. This is behind you, this Ten of Wands. You've decided to let that go because the burden is not worthwhile, and you can't go, you can't carry anymore. So it is the beginning of a new cycle. Maybe whatever this cycle has been for you, beautiful Aries, something didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to, but remember with the disappointment card, we've all felt this. We all feel it at different times. And you know, it's only like a breath away from the Six of Cups, I should say. The Five of Cups is just a breath away from the Six, which is a beautiful card of harmony and balance. And of course, we do need to understand that in order to be able to receive a gift that is as intense as this worldly and material ace of abundance. Okie dokie. So let's. So there's a lovely letting go of the old, making room for new. We see our value reflected. We see it coming back to us from others, which is nice. It doesn't mean we're getting sort of becoming egomaniacal about it or taking it on board like that. It does indicate we have, you know, a large level of humility. So let's just go through and clarify. What should we clarify here? I'm kind of interested in this ace of discs. This ace of discs that, oh, here we go. Ace of discs. Can we have one card to clarify it, please, for lovely Aries? Look, transformations are occurring all the time, you know, and sometimes we're not even aware of it. There's far too many cards there. Can we see the Eight of Discs? The Ace of Discs, please. Oh, God, let's just ground ourselves. I'll get both feet on the floor. Both feet on the floor for lovely Aries. Where are we? Ace of Discs, please, this gorgeous gift. And it is a divine gift. Yeah, and this is the gift is that we've seen ourselves in the past. Look, I think this new moon too in Pisces, whether we're floating in free flow imagination, projecting that forward into the future, whether we're on that kind of current, or we are remembering things from the past, to clarify this ace, which is an incredible opportunity. We see this, which is the Five of Discs, which is an understanding that in the past, because I do believe this, in the past there have been times where we've chosen to not grab opportunities, to basically not go into the warm, nurturing environment. We've chosen to stay outside in the cold and trudge along, suffering as we go. There's nothing admirable about that. When it is a choice for us, and I'm not being harsh here, it is a choice. The Five of Discs is a mindset, and it's a mindset that every human on this planet has experienced or does experience or struggles with this, to actually put into practice ways of not been habitually putting ourselves out in the cold. And I do believe that the Seven of Swords is connected with that. There's a change going on here for you, beautiful Aries, and that change is called transformation, and it's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. I am not looking lightly upon this at all. It's a beautiful thing. It's a hard process as well. So let's see we'll just have a look for Aries. What is this Five of Cups? The fives can often bring in conflict, often internal conflict. Look at the Five of Cups, please, for beautiful Aries. Yeah, look. Really, it couldn't be clearer here, where we have in the current position that this understanding of disappointment. We get the Seven of Discs, which is a card of review. So I do believe that, you're looking, possibly at this time, you are reviewing some things. You are reviewing some things from the past, or elements of the past are coming back to you in your mind. And with the Seven of Discs, the farmer looks back on his yield and tries to weigh up the energetics of it. Look, how much have I put into these crops, and what have I got out of that? And actually, how can I, as I move forward, if I'm not satisfied, how can I do things differently? Or do I need to? Or is this okay? It's like an assessment card, the seven. All the sevens are, but, so we've got two fives, we've got two sevens. It really is a time of dealing with maybe some internal conflict and assessing where we are moving to. So let's just see, moving forward with this amazing transformation for Aries that's occurring. Oh, look, it's pretty interesting. We've got a few cards here, and I'll read them the way that they came out. Look, we're changing our ways. I think there's a theme. I think there is a theme, beautiful Aries, at this current time, and we're looking, I mean, you can view it like from a personal level as much as a collective level, from micro to macro, where a lot of people are changing the way that they see where they're at and how they can work with what they've got at this current time, heading into the future, of course. So what we get here when we look at moving ahead, and of course we have these two cards, a card of transformation, a card of kind of not self abuse, but I do believe in this reading that is something, we do screw with our own head often. We do that. And look, changes are difficult. Changing perspectives, it's almost as if there's an element of divine timing involved in that. It's as if we kind of draw it in, we head along, we try, we work at it, but there is a timing element to it. But the three cards that came out, and the order that they came out, moving forward for you, Aries, we have a card of habit. Again, when I speak of the Seven of Swords, the Five of Discs, these are habitual behaviours, and the Nine of Wands is a card that really sums that up, that in the specific sense that to take a position of defence constantly, after a while, it doesn't matter what's in front of us, we'll be defensive, because that is our, over a long period of time, that is our, like our default, really. But it's a habitual, classically termed the wounded warrior, who's always ready in defence, The second card, well, we get a softer, quite delightful offering with the Knight of Cups. It is quite a mature offering. He's not a king yet, but he does have a full cup. And he's not spilling anything out of it yet. Someone around you, actually, at this time, that it's someone in the Six of Wands, someone that's allowed you a shift in perspective, I do feel. And it's not as we see, this self-assessment going on, blah blah, the wounded warrior, habitual behavior. It's not something that you're familiar with, because we get an offering, another one, I think, via the Knight. And I would suggest in this reading that the Knight is possibly someone in your life, in your circle, a family member. It could be anybody. But you are seeing something in terms of the way that they are appreciating you. It's allowed you a different insight, if this makes sense. It's allowed you a different insight, and it's allowed you, with the Four of Cups, to be able to recognize an offering that doesn't come in the package that you are most used to, Aries. It's interesting because I do sense, there's been a couple of readings so far this week, I do sense that there's a, what would you say, like an intimate, not necessarily intimate, but a love kind of element, or the love of somebody, or the admiration of someone directed at you that's altered something in the way that you see the gifts that are presented around you. If that makes sense in this reading, it could be quite specific, Aries. It could be quite specific, but at the same time, here, you have let go of a burden, of a load, of an old cycle that is unnecessary to make room for this transformation, to make room for this new way of seeing, this new offering, this new emotional string to your bow or to your life, whatever situation you happen to be in currently. It's very interesting, which seems to be a situation where there are a lot of unknowns in the central point with the moon, subconsciously, but you've become quite aware of it through assessing your energy, input, output, balance of, if you see what I mean. Let's get a journey map card, beautiful gems. Let's get a journey map for you. Let's see, what is it? As I was saying before, we get actually two come out. What was I saying before? Well, it is a week to let the imagination go for a little bit of free flow here. I think you are. I think you're certainly extending yourself in your ability to perceive things somewhat differently or more emotionally expansively than what you have been. Doing this allows you to see this beautiful gift, and it is a gift. Here we have the card of imaging, which is about the power of the imagination, of planting seeds. Hello, new moon coming up on the 13th, of planting seeds, the seed of the imagination, of a word, of image. Here we see this, this small child. And I always feel with this card that, and it is from my own deck anyway, so I guess I can feel anything I want to, but with this, the meaning of this beautiful card is that, with this small child, the cells are turning over, they're expanding, they're growing at such an incredible rate. And at the same time, so we see these little energetic cords, we see them attached to this egg. It is a thought form. A thought form is just as powerful as potentially planting, a seed, planting a little sapling, a wee plant, whatever it happens to be, a tree, whatever. Thought form creates something in the material world. This is coming to you as a gift, and yet it doesn't have a form as such yet. But you will see the signs and signals, I believe, because I think you have somewhere the emotional, obviously, usually, is connected with the material potential abundance, the potential abundance of the material world. And in getting imaging, I do believe this, that there is something taking root as we speak for you, dear Aries, largely because you got rid of whatever load that was. Oh, look, it's quite interesting. It's quite amazing. And with imaging, with the small child, we not only see the burgeoning of this new life form, this new thing, whether it's material, whether it's emotional, whether it's everything, whether it covers every aspect, psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical, And I say that because, God, don't let me lose my train of thought here. Because in its burgeoning, in its youthful sprouting, in the first seeds of it coming into your mind, whatever this is, it's actually got not only this it's not a landing pad, it's like a starting block, right? Everything is in place. Whatever this is in place at the starting block, where we see all the cells just going, woo, this is the beginning of something amazing, amazingly new. It's not just got everything bolstering it, supporting it at the beginning, but it's also got a kind of, it's got familial bonds, and I don't know quite how to explain this, environmental supports, familial supports. It is coming into an environment that's supported in every way. This could be a new project. It could be a new way of living for you, beautiful Aries. It could be just a whole new beginning of sorts. Mother love is about these connections. But it's also about connections over timelines, familial lines, genetics, genetic memory, and know that it is a card that suggests to you to really know that even people in your family, it can be friends too, because a lot of us aren't necessarily in a family unit, and our friends are our family as well. So it can be friends and family. Dovetailing, we fit together. But also understand that with this card, that those that have passed or gone before us, they walk with us too. Beautiful Aries, they walk with us as we walk through our path, along our life path. So we see this supported at every angle, dear Aries. It's actually quite amazing, but there's still a very mysterious kind of central point with the moon, but it is a transformation. There is someone else involved in this that you've seen, not the Knight of Cups looking at his own reflection, but you've seen this Knight of Cups. You've seen what you mean to this Knight, if that makes sense. So there is that relationship element to this, as well as creating new seeds for this new amazing thing that's protected at every level. It's as if you're, it's as if you're having some kind of cell renewal. It's amazing, Aries. Should we just get, God, I nearly forgot. We'll just get a little pixie and fairy. God, it's amazing, some of the storylines that come out here. This is pretty fascinating. Can we just get a pixie and fairy? Brian Froud, pixie and fairy from the Fairy Oracle. Excuse me. Oh my God, yeah. We get Luathis, the Wild. This is about, it's about creative energy. It's about speed. There is no stopping this. It's kind of like, as I was saying, it's as if you've got like this cell renewal, internally, externally. people around you. There's some major, major new growth going on. And this card is, in fact, a card of that. It's a card of speed. There is no stopping this character. It's sheer whoof, green. It's green force. It's pretty explosive. This is quite amazing, Aries. It's beautiful, but it's also really charged. There's new things happening. You've done the work. You know what? You've worked. You've done a lot of personal work here. And it's good work. It's great work. It is the great work. So on that, Aries, thank you for joining me and tuning in. We'll be coming in tomorrow with time and tides for this new moon collective, this new moon in Pisces collective reading. Please join me if you so desire. But thank you so much. That was a fabulous read. I hope you got something out of it. Cheery for now. Bye.